real Tray Deee.
I didn't know that.
That's the real Tray Deee.
10
Just got
times
out.
out of 10. Tell the truth. That's why they didn't want to let Long Beach in the game, because they wasn't getting it back. We greedy. We want it all. We want it all.
That's the real deal. Tracy Lamar Davis, the world knows him as Big Tray Deee, wasn't just another rapper chasing fame. He was hip-hop royalty with real power behind his name. A platinum-selling artist, a Dr. Dre collaborator, and a true OG insane Crip whose rep didn't need social media to prove anything. He wasn't out here pretending or trying to act tough for views. Everything he said in his tracks came from real life. But that truth came with heat. In 2003, one street confrontation flipped his whole world, leaving him convicted of attempted homicide and locked up for 12 long years. How does a man with so much respect end up becoming hip-hop's forgotten giant? Let's dig into the story behind the legend. Before the fame, before the plaques, before the industry politics, he was just Tracy Lamar, a kid molded by the hard corners of Long Beach. Some say he got time for shooting at someone drunk or not. Others even claimed he shot at Snoop. But one thing's certain, Tray Deee was born April 27, 1966, and came up in a place where loyalty was law and survival was the only option. He didn't act gangster. He was gangster every second of the day. Before he ever touched a studio mic, he'd already faced enough real-life situations to earn that OG title as an insane Crip with deep roots in the game. He lived by his code. We want it all. You can't have this back. We're gonna hand it down. Every move came from experience, not image. He handled his problems directly, stood solid on respect, and never let dishonesty slide. That raw, uncut authenticity became his power, both in the streets and in the music world, where everyone knew one thing for sure. Big Tray Deee was not the one to play with. Then came November 2003, the day everything flipped for real. A shooting went down in Long Beach, and that moment changed Big Tray Dee's entire life. Cops swooped in fast, and prosecutors came after him like they wanted to erase his name off the map. They hit him with a wild 122-year sentence request over one confrontation, and nobody was even hit. They stacked the charges sky high: attempted homicide, assault with a semi-automatic, and illegal firearm possession, all tied to his gang ties. It was a legal death sentence, showing just how cold the system could be when your name carried Crip weight in LA County. But that day wasn't where the story began. The fire had been burning for years before it exploded.
He ended up having to do some time in prison for
shooting at drunk or not, but I'm just saying, he was, and he shot us.
Tray Deee had co-founded Tha Eastsidaz with Snoop Dogg and Goldie Lock, building a bridge between the insane Crips and the Rollin' 20s Crips, two sets that didn't usually link up like that. The group took off hard, dropping one platinum and one gold album, putting Long Beach right back in the spotlight. But while the fame grew, so did the tension. Tray Deee later revealed he got cheated out of over $1 million in royalties. The group barely saw more than a small advance, while Snoop's camp even billed them for the gold chains they wore in the videos, calling them gifts, and then writing off the cost like a business expense. For almost 2 years, Tray Deee tried to handle things the grown man way. No drama, just conversation. But when peace talks went nowhere, he decided to face it head on. He pulled up to Snoop's house to settle things directly. Tray Deee said when he showed up, Snoop ran out and jumped into his truck. And that moment, it set off a chain reaction of pure chaos. The very next day, things exploded for real. Reports claimed Snoop's people fired first, and Tray Deee shot back, turning a heated argument into a full-blown street shootout that would shadow him for years. That single exchange became the heart of the Long Beach shooting case, tearing apart the unity he had worked to build between rival Crip sets. With mandatory minimum laws stacked heavy and prosecutors chasing extreme numbers, Tray Dee's world went from platinum success to prison bars in the blink of an eye. Tray Deee was staring down a mind-breaking 122 years behind bars, a number meant to crush his spirit. With no real shot to fight it, he took a plea deal in 2005, 12 years for attempted homicide. Just like that, one of the West Coast's most respected voices got snatched right out of the game in the middle of his prime. That sentence didn't just pause his career. It cut off the rise of a man whose name already carried serious weight long before any prison gates closed behind him. Tray Deee was never the type to send someone else to handle his problems. He didn't hide behind security or let managers do his talking. If there was an issue, he faced it head on. His credibility wasn't built from flashy videos or wild rumors. It was built from real life. The streets of Long Beach saw him as one of the most solid OGs walking. His name wasn't made off one headline. It came from years of high-pressure moments that showed his code and character. One of the wildest stories happened back in 2001 during the filming of Baby Boy. A beef popped off between San Diego rapper J.O. Felony and Snoop Dogg over the term Crip Hop, and things heated up fast.
We want it all. We want it all. You can't have this back. We're gonna hand it down to our
At first, Tray Deee thought about letting them handle it man to man. But once Snoop swung first, everything exploded. Tray Deee and about 16 Long Beach homies jumped in instantly to back him up. No hesitation, no fear. But after the chaos, Tray Deee flipped the script completely. Instead of fanning the flames, he stepped in as the peacemaker. He personally reached out to J.O. Felony to make sure the situation didn't spiral into full-on street warfare. That moment showed the duality of who he was. Someone who could bring heavy force when needed, but also knew when to cool things down before it turned fatal. And that wasn't the only time his code showed. Another unforgettable moment came in 2000 during Dr. Dre's legendary Up in Smoke tour. The Eastsidaz was set to perform right after R&B singer TQ, and what happened next would once again prove just how real Tray Dee's presence was in every room he stepped into. The disrespect Tray Deee faced on that tour was next level, and he wasn't the type to just let it slide. Instead of staying quiet for fame or money, he stepped straight to the organizers himself. No yelling, no drama, just raw confidence. He made it crystal clear that respect mattered more than any stage slot. Then, without hesitation, he pulled Tha Eastsidaz off the entire Up in Smoke tour. That move alone showed how serious he was about his principles. Even years later, Tray Deee stayed locked into that same code. Around 2017, at one of Snoop Dogg's parties, he spotted a known informant trying to blend in with real OGs like nothing happened. Tray Deee wasted no time. He walked right up and reminded everybody there that no snitches belong around real street veterans. He wasn't preaching, he was setting the standard. But then the unexpected happened. That same informant tried to sneak a cheap shot and sucker punched Tray Deee, knocking him straight into the pool. Most people would have lost it, but not him. Tray Deee climbed out calm, soaked, and unbothered, like it was nothing more than a splash on a hot day. That right there showed the kind of composure and control that made him who he was. Moments like that proved his loyalty, integrity, and street code never faded. Not with age, not with fame, not even under pressure. Tray Deee wasn't just a rapper or a gang member. He was a figure whose decisions could shift the whole energy in a room. He could either turn the heat up or cool it down before anyone got hurt. He had the rare power to protect alliances, enforce real street rules, and make calls that carried serious weight, from the neighborhoods to the studios. That dual life, part artist, part street diplomat, shaped everything about his journey. It also hinted at the challenges he'd later face behind bars, where that same respect would follow him everywhere. Tray Deee could spit a verse on a platinum record, rock a global stage, and that same night step onto the block to settle disputes face to face. And when he spoke, everyone listened. His name carried power as both an enforcer and a mediator, and none of it was handed to him. He earned every ounce of it through real tests, real struggle, and real consequences. Every move he made followed the code he lived by. Whether gripping a mic or stepping into street business, that hardened background became the heartbeat of West Coast hip-hop itself. By the mid-1990s, Long Beach had become a powerhouse in gangsta rap. Loud, raw, and impossible to ignore. And right in the middle of it all stood Tray Deee, holding down his spot like a real general. His authentic energy, mixed with his unshakable loyalty to the Crip code, made him the bridge between two worlds, the streets and the industry. Everyone respected him, from the homies on the block to the heavy hitters in the music game. His official music grind kicked off in 1994, right when Snoop Doggy Dogg's rise was taking over the world and Death Row Records ruled hip-hop. Tray Deee jumped on Snoop's Murder Was the Case soundtrack, dropping fire on 21 Jump Street. And from that moment, people knew he wasn't rapping fairy tales. His bars came straight from lived experience. No cap, no fabrication. From there, he just kept stacking wins. Tray Deee showed up on Tha Dogg Pound's 1995 album Dog Food, killing his verse on Reality, and then slid right onto Snoop's Tha Dogg Father album. His voice carried through movie soundtracks too, flicks like Gridlocked, Gang-Related, and Thick as Thieves, proving that everything he touched came with that authentic Long Beach energy. Each feature was a reminder. Tray Deee didn't have to pretend. He wasn't selling an image. He was spitting the truth of a life he'd already lived. Being deep in Snoop's inner circle only amplified his power. He stood in that rare position where street credibility and industry fame met perfectly in the middle.
TQ, yeah. So we told Dre, hey, we finna beat up TQ tonight, because he was taking our time slot where he was coming in. I think he paid to go on tour. You know what I'm saying? So when he was doing his time, the audience was packed, but he was an R&B singer.
But being that close also meant seeing the darker side of the scene up close. Tray Deee witnessed firsthand how wild the mid-1990s got. The tension between Death Row and Bad Boy. The constant pressure in rooms filled with money and muscle, where a simple argument could turn into a full-on confrontation in seconds. Even when he wasn't directly involved, he watched it all with sharp eyes and learned from every moment. He understood the unspoken laws of that world. Your name was everything, and loyalty was tested every single day. Watching powerhouses like Nate Dogg and Corrupt handle business showed him how to balance strength with smarts. He learned when to stand tall, when to apply pressure, and when to calm things down before the fire spread too far. That mix of street grit and strategic thinking became his signature. What truly made Tray Deee stand out was how smooth he moved between both worlds, the block and the booth. He kept the unfiltered rawness demanded by his gang roots while mastering the polished focus of studio life, something most rappers couldn't pull off. That balance made him one of the realest to ever do it, keeping his authenticity untouched while the world around him kept changing.
I think it was in New York, we came out on his set, so Dre started telling us, hey, you gonna come out the liquor store at this point. He started organizing, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So he made it to a way to where we was gonna come out on his set. That would have been dope, but it got took off the
Tray Deee had been writing rhymes since 1988, using rap not just as art, but as survival. It was his way to escape, to tell his truth, and to earn respect while carving out a lane in the industry that actually meant something. He knew early on that the street life came with an expiration date, but one thing he refused to do was sell out or bend his integrity just to please record labels. That rare blend of real-life experience, solid street ties, and natural mic skills set the foundation for the wave he'd ride into the late 90s with Tha Eastsidaz. By then, Tray Deee wasn't just a dope voice. He was a force who could calm down beefs, build bridges between sets, and still represent Long Beach with full authority. As the 2000s rolled in, Tray Deee evolved from respected collaborator to full-blown powerhouse. Everything came together when Tha Eastsidaz was born. And this wasn't just another rap group. This was a straight-up West Coast super team. Alongside Snoop Dogg and Goldie Lock, Tray Deee helped craft a sound that blended raw, street-level storytelling with smooth, mainstream appeal, a balance few could ever pull off. Their debut album, Snoop Dogg Presents Tha Eastsidaz 2000, went platinum fast, and their follow-up, Deuces and Trays The Old-Fashioned Way 2001, went gold, officially stamping their spot in hip-hop history. But the real impact went way deeper than just plaques and numbers. The group symbolized something major.
He did that like two in New York, and then another.
Why didn't get took off the show?
I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Probably.
A fragile but powerful unity between rival Long Beach Crip sets. That kind of connection took real trust, patience, and diplomacy. Every move they made, from music videos to tour stops, carried the pressure of keeping that balance between brotherhood and territory. And Tray Deee, he was the glue holding it all together. His influence didn't stop there. In 1999, Dr. Dre himself recognized Tray Dee's raw authenticity and lyrical skill, pulling him into the legendary 2001 album. And guess what? Tray Deee was the very first voice you hear on that record, right alongside Exhibit on the intro track. That project went on to sell over 12 million copies worldwide, and that opening moment gave Tray Deee something money couldn't buy: a global platform. That verse wasn't just a cameo, it was a statement. It showed the entire world that Long Beach wasn't done producing legends, and that Tray Deee wasn't just surviving the game, he was mastering it on every level. Very few people could deny the weight of that moment. It wasn't just exposure, it was validation. Dr. Dre putting Tray Deee on 2001 wasn't some casual feature. It was Dre saying loud and clear that Tray Dee's street-grown skill belonged right next to hip-hop's elite. That cosign hit different. It shifted how the entire industry saw him overnight. Not long after, Tha Eastsidaz were flying across the globe, rocking stages from Europe to Asia. Crowds in places like Japan and Germany were shouting the lyrics word for word, even when they didn't speak the language. Tray Deee saw firsthand that people everywhere had a hunger for those real West Coast stories. Raw, vivid, and unapologetic. Their music wasn't just entertainment, it was culture, crossing oceans and breaking barriers. And while the group's fame exploded, Tray Deee kept his solo grind alive too. In 2002, he dropped The General's List, a compilation that proved he didn't need a crew behind him to deliver power. Every track was packed with sharp flows, street-smart bars, and a commanding tone that made listeners feel every line deep in their chest. That project solidified him as one of the strongest voices on the entire West Coast. Not a side act, not a background name, but a full-blown force in his own right. Even with all that success, Tray Deee stayed focused and disciplined. Every feature, every verse, every performance, he treated it like it represented Long Beach itself. His name carried weight in those streets, so every move had to match that legacy. But the higher he climbed, the heavier the pressure got. Money started getting funny, loyalty got questioned, and quiet tension crept in among people he once called family.
They know Big Tray Deee stay heavy every time.
That's the real Tray Deee.
I know that.
That's the real Tray Deee. Just got out
of 10.
And in Tray Dee's world, loyalty wasn't optional. It was life or death for your reputation. Balancing fame, global attention, and street expectations turned his life into a tightrope walk where one wrong move could crash everything he built. Right after reaching the peak of his career, the seeds of his legal troubles started taking root. Slowly but surely, he didn't even see it coming. Those platinum plaques, those sold-out tours that Dr. Dre co-signed, they were supposed to mark the victory lap of a street legend turned star. But in reality, they were the calm before the storm. For Tray Deee, that success was both a celebration and a warning. Proof of how far he'd come, but also a reminder of how fast things could turn. Even at the top, he couldn't escape the harsh truths of where he came from. Loyalty stayed under the microscope. Alliances kept shifting, and the streets were watching his every move. And then, just like that, everything changed. By early 2005, Tray Dee's reality flipped hard. From rocking sold-out shows overseas to staring at the cold concrete walls of California's prison system. After being convicted for attempted homicide tied to that 2003 Long Beach incident, he started serving a 12-year sentence at the California Men's Colony in San Luis Obispo. Just like that, the West Coast heavyweight went from spotlights to lockdown, a brutal fall that hit overnight. But the sentence wasn't just about losing freedom. It struck at everything that defined him. His career froze, his rhythm got snatched, and the identity he'd built on raw authenticity suddenly got tested like never before. Sure, he dodged that insane 122-year sentence prosecutors first pushed for, but 12 years behind bars. That still hit hard, especially for someone who had been rising so fast and standing toe-to-toe with legends. His case exposed how ruthless those mandatory minimum laws really were. One single confrontation, branded as gang-related, was enough to erase years of real work, progress, and legacy. The system didn't care about context or character. It cared about labels. And with Tray Dee's background, the deck was already stacked before he even stepped into that courtroom. Yet behind those bars, something unexpected happened. Tray Deee grew. Prison became more than a punishment. It became a place of reflection and discipline. Instead of letting the time break him, he treated it like a test of strength and willpower. He converted to Islam, finding peace, structure, and guidance that helped him face conflict differently than before. That spiritual awakening gave him new purpose, even inside chaos and confinement. And creatively, he refused to disappear. Tray Deee picked up the pen and turned pain into power. He wrote 2 full novels while locked up, Streets Gone Cry, 2012, and Los Angeles Times, Urban Tales, 2013. It shocked everyone on the outside. Who would have thought a man behind bars would drop serious literature instead of just rhymes? But that's exactly who Tray Deee was. Unpredictable, disciplined, and unstoppable. Even with all the restrictions, music never left his heart. He found ways to keep creating. No fancy studio, no big budget, just grit and drive. From inside his cell, he recorded Long Beach State of Mind, Volume 1, using a smartphone, blankets, and cardboard to build a makeshift sound booth. It was raw, it was resourceful, and it was pure innovation. That project wasn't about perfection, it was about proof. Proof that even locked up, his voice couldn't be silenced. Tray Deee showed the world that no prison walls could cage his creativity, his hustle, or his connection to the fans who still saw him as one of Long Beach's truest legends. Prison didn't just separate Tray Deee from the world, and it forced him to face himself. Those years behind bars became a mirror, showing him every move, every loyalty, every pressure that led to his downfall. He spent that time replaying the choices, understanding the system that boxed him in, and learning how to move smarter the next time around. Isolation gave him space to see everything with clarity, regret mixed with strategy. So when he came home, he was ready to rewrite his story on his own terms. By the time he stepped out in April 2014, it wasn't Big Tray Deee the rapper walking free. It was a whole new man, spiritually grounded, mentally sharp, and loaded with creative work that he had crafted through discipline and faith. The man who once recorded a mixtape from inside a cell, who found peace through Islam and structure through hardship, finally walked out ready to build something greater than fame. Those 9 years didn't break him, they transformed him. The walls could hold his body, but they could never silence his mind, his vision, or his voice. April 2014 marked more than just a release date. It was the rebirth of Tray Deee. But stepping back into the world after almost a decade was like waking up in a new era. The streets he once commanded had changed. The music industry had evolved, and a whole new generation was running the game. Still, Tray Deee didn't flinch, not once. He attacked his comeback with the same fearless energy and unshakable authenticity that made him a legend in the first place. He knew survival in hip-hop meant evolution, so he wasted no time getting back to work. Tray Deee built his own empire, Supreme Circle Music Group, setting it up as the base for his entire comeback movement. From 2016 through 2023, he kept the momentum alive, dropping project after project, The Third Coming, The General's List 2, The Certified Project, and Malice. Each release carried raw pieces of his journey, the survival, the loyalty, the discipline, and the cold lessons from his time behind the walls. His voice still hit with the same weight it always had, that mix of wisdom and street grit that couldn't be faked. And collaboration, that stayed a key part of his rise back up. Tray Deee wasn't just returning to the scene, he was rebuilding connections, uniting the old and the new, and reminding everyone that Long Beach still had a general in the game. Every verse, every beat, every move screamed one message loud and clear. The real Tray Deee was back, and this time, he wasn't leaving anything unfinished. Tray Deee came out swinging. He linked up with Tha Chill, Corrupt, and Weasel Lock to form a powerhouse supergroup, Tha Eastsidaz OGs. Their 2016 album, We Got Now and Next, proved one thing loud and clear. Tray Deee didn't just survive hip-hop's chaos, he still commanded the same respect and presence that made him a legend in the first place. Standing shoulder to shoulder with some of the realest names on the West Coast, he showed the world that his energy hadn't faded, it had sharpened. Even as hip-hop kept evolving into new sounds and styles, Tray Deee held his lane down like a boss. His voice still hit with that raw, lived-in truth that newer generations could feel, even if they didn't grow up in his era. He became that bridge, connecting the OGs who laid the foundation with the young artists carrying the West Coast torch forward. And then came one of the most powerful moments of his comeback, his long-awaited reconciliation with Snoop Dogg. Their bond had once been strong, but years of tension, legal drama, money disputes, and personal pain had torn them apart. Still, even while Tray Deee was locked up, both men started finding peace with the past. By 2014, they were back on stage together in Fresno and Inglewood, standing side by side once again, something most people never thought they'd see. But even with all the reunions, the albums, and the tours, Big Tray Deee still remains one of hip-hop's most underappreciated giants. His long absence created a massive generational gap. A whole wave of fans grew up never realizing how much weight his name carried in the streets or how deep his impact ran long before the prison years. While many artists stayed constantly in the spotlight, Tray Deee spent 9 crucial years locked away. And that kind of break erases momentum most rappers never get back. Still, he never lost his purpose, never lost his sound, and never stopped rebuilding brick by brick. If you've been feeling this story, drop your thoughts down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. Let's keep the legacy of real West Coast history alive. See you in the next one.